Welcome to the show, guys. Monday Night Football Showdown. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. We got two exciting matchups tonight. We got the Patriots and the Chiefs and the Falcons and the Packers. And we got the ambassadors here tonight with us. I'm going to deep dive into this. Chiefs, the 11-point favorite in this matchup. Now we're going to get the point of view from both Ryan and Colby on this, the brand ambassadors for each respective team. And I want to hear the points on this from the Patriots guy. Let's start off with Colby here. Colby, man, I mean, you're the dog here, 11-point dog. Who's starting at quarterback? It's Hoyer from what I'm hearing, right? What are you disappointed with this, what Vegas thinks about your team right now?
I mean, I think it's understandable. I think, when you're in this situation, you haven't really seen Brian Hoyer too much. He's lost his past 10 games. Now, guaranteed, he's never actually started a game with the Patriots, so we can't really say how he's going to perform with them. But, I mean, yeah, it's not Cam Newton. In my personal opinion, this game should not even be played today. With everything that's happening to COVID, I think the NFL just rushed into this game. I don't think they're taking enough precaution. Either way, I just think the smart move would have been to delay it a little bit more. Losing Cam, obviously a big loss. I think even with Cam, this was going to be a tough game to win. But now without Cam, it's going to be even tougher because we haven't seen, Brian Hoyer, Jarrett Stidham at play at first-hand quarterback for the New England Patriots. So I don't like how the NFL is holding this, but this is what I will say. Technically, the New England Patriots are undefeated against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And I have a picture for you here, Joe. Yeah. Little picture right here. You see that?
Who's that?
You see that? That is N'Keal Harry. You see that foot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that foot is in. You can see that, right?
Yeah, I can see that. It's clear as day. Picture.
That's not on the white. Yeah. The refs ruled that out. And that's really the big reason why the New England Patriots lost last year's game against the Chiefs was because the refs ruled that out of bounds. Patriots didn't get a touchdown. That was clearly a touchdown. So the Patriots got screwed. Realistically, this team is undefeated against the Chiefs. I do have the Chiefs winning this game. But in the end, this team knows how to match up against the Kansas City Chiefs. They've proven that time after time. I think they're one of the only teams, minus a couple maybe of other teams, but really the New England Patriots, they know how to match up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, obviously, because of the quarterback play, we don't know how that's going to happen. So, I think that could really help decide this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. But the New England Patriots, at least defensively, game planning wise, scheme, they know how to go up against this team.
Right. I mean, Ryan, what are your thoughts on what he just said? I mean, you got to be looking at this. You got some pep in your step here, walking Conor McGregor walk going. I mean, you got to be confident going into this matchup.
It's one of those things, and I do happen to agree with Colby that I do not think this game should have been played right now. There's just too many question marks about the health and viability of both teams and why push it. I do disagree, though, that even if you score points doesn't mean you get a win. And I'm not too worried about this one. I wasn't going into it either. And quite frankly, neither of the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the returning champions for a reason. That said, this is a game that I thought was going to be really interesting because of the challenge that Cam Newton is. Without that, and honestly, without Sony Michel as well, can Rex back it up a second week in a row? Can they expand that? Can N'Keal Harry do something else again? I'm not so sure of that, especially with Hoyer trying to get on the ball. So I'm fairly confident that this became, an even wider margin. I see it as a 14-point game.
Do you think the Patriots keep the Chiefs in check defensively? I mean, they've got a solid defense. I think. Do you think they neutralize Tyreek Hill and somewhat neutralize this offense? Because we saw what happened with the Chiefs in Baltimore. Baltimore didn't have a solution for them. I imagine Belichick has got a plan for the Chiefs somehow defensively. Do you think that should be an issue, or are the Chiefs going to come in prepared and mix things up a little bit this week again?
I think Bill's always got a plan for the Chiefs, whether it's Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. This is the question whether the players can execute. We've seen some fall off here from one of the McCourties. I believe it's Jason. I'll have to check. Yeah. But also a little bit in Stephon Gilmore. He's not quite himself. So I thought it was really close in years past. If those guys aren't up to par, you see the evolution of McCole Hardman as well. Sammy Watkins is healthy. Plus Kelce, plus Hill. I think it becomes what used to be a pretty even matchup is now falling off a little bit for the Patriots.
I should ask that maybe to Colby. Are you guys ready defensively for what the Chiefs? They're going to bring the heat, man. Are you guys ready? That's the question.
I mean, yeah, for sure. And look, Arrowhead is one of the toughest stadiums to play in. Luckily enough for us, this is not going to be a packed stadium as usual. So I think that's going to help this game out definitely for sure on the New England Patriots side. But look, like Ryan said, I got to agree with him. Like, this defense has some question marks. Stephon Gilmore, I think it's really coming down to the fact that, look, we have not had an offseason. No one had an offseason. I think you're seeing now with injuries, a lot of players getting injured because instead of leaning your way back into football, we're just getting pushed back into it. Every single player at this point, high-end players, are getting injured because of that. No one is the same. So I do think this defense will return to what they were before. It's going to take a few weeks. When exactly are they going to pop into it? I don't know. I don't expect it to be this game, but I expect it to still be a well-played game. As for how are they going to match up for Tyreek Hill and whatnot, I think they're going to do the same thing they've done every single time before. They're going to place their fastest cornerback on Tyreek Hill and Jonathan Jones, and then give him some safety help over the top. I think their big thing is going to try to shut down big plays down the field. Look, you can't shut down Patrick Mahomes. You can't shut down the Chiefs offense. Everybody knows that. Bill Belichick knows that. What you got to do is limit the big plays down the field. Make them do little dump offs. Make them run the ball and pick up little yardage at a time rather than just huge plays down the field. And I think that's what Belichick's going to do. He knows that's what he has to do. And again, it's all going to come down to scheme and coaching, and Belichick knows how to do that. But again, because of the quarterback play that the New England Patriots have, so unsure what are they going to do. Real quickly, though, as for the whole running back situation, Sonny Michel, yes, placed on IR. He will not be playing this game. But Sonny Michel has not been great this season. He was that lead runner, had a great game last week, but besides that, hasn't really been that main guy. You know, we have Damian Harris coming back, who was really taking over that role for Sonny Michel. He was. So going to have to see how he does.
Now, why Hoyer, though? I mean, why wouldn't you just give Stidham the start? Wasn't Stidham supposed to be the guy there before Cam Newton there? Why are you going for old and reliable over upside and youth here? What are you doing here?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, look, I think if you know Bill Belichick, you knew that this was going to be the move. Personally, I think this would have been the game to see what Jarrett Stidham has. I think it's a tough game even with Cam Newton, but without Cam Newton, it's going to be extremely tough to win this game. And right. I mean, I even have the Patriots losing this one. So I think ultimately they're starting Hoyer because he has so much experience in the NFL. He has so much experience within the Patriots organization. They're going to take that veteran who can read, an opposing defense, can make the changes accordingly, and someone who's just ultimately going to take care of the ball better. I do think Jarrett Stidham is more athletic. He has more talent than, let's say, Hoyer does, but I don't think he's able to read an NFL defense at this point. He's not able to take care of the ball as well as Hoyer would. I think the Patriots are just going to try to run this ball down the throat of the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not great in stopping the run. I think that even with Cam Newton, they were going to try to do that. But now with Cam Newton not at quarterback, not their starting quarterback, they're going to try to run this ball even more.
All right, Ryan, I got a question here. I got from one of my friends here. This is for Ryan. He's asked if he thinks that they will lose Eric, I can't pronounce his name, Bieniemy to the Texans or another team. I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, with the firing with Bill O'Brien, I mean, Eric Bieniemy, drunk, hungover, and blindfolded, could do a better job than Bill O'Brien. So I don't know why you wouldn't, but I think you have to take a look at the organization. For Eric Bieniemy, I don't think that's someplace that he wants to land. Yes, you have Deshaun Watson, one of, I think, the three best quarterbacks of the next generation, the next 5 years.
Right.
Is that enough? If you're Eric Bieniemy and you're coming off of a championship, I think there are going to be other opportunities this year. There might be one in Denver that allows him to run an offense very similar to what he wants to do. I think there will be other opportunities, but they'll certainly come calling.
All right, I got to ask you too. There's so much volatility from a fantasy perspective, and I know some of my fans are tuning in here. From a fantasy perspective, so much uncertainty as to who's going to get the ball. Is it going to be Hardman? Is it going to be Robinson? Is it going to be Pringle? Is it going to be Tyreek Hill? Is it going to be Kelsey? Is it going to be who's it going to be? Do you ever know? Do you have any insight as to who's going to get? I mean, probably not, but do you have any type of intel as to who's going to go off each week, or do you have a sense or intuition every week, or is it kind of like a roll of the dice for you as well?
You know, it really comes down to the way teams play them. I think what you saw against the Ravens is they'll take anybody. Patrick does not care who is receiving the ball as long as they catch the ball. The only thing that's going to get under his skin is drops.
Yeah.
They spread it around really well. 5 receivers over 80 yards and 6 catches last week. The difference is going to be what we've seen Bill Belichick do in the past, and unlike the Ravens, has been successful at going coverage 0 from time to time. In that position, McCole Hardman's not your guy. It's going to be Sammy, Tyreek, or Kelsey. If he actually doesn't feel that he can keep up with that game plan and do what he did last year against the Chiefs, if he drops into more of that cover 2, cover 4, he might even try to put some cover 3 in place to try and emulate what the Chargers have done, because they played the Chiefs very tough over the last couple of years. If that happens, then you're looking at the secondary receivers down the seams, and I think that's a recipe that the Chiefs can make some hay with Hardman or Kelsey.
So based on this matchup, you're saying, so who's going to be this particularly on this matchup, you're saying Hardman or Kelsey?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, they're going to have to move it around. I don't think that they have the confidence in going cover 0 as much tonight as they did last year.
All right, so can I get a final score out of you guys? I'm really curious let's start off with Ryan since you're on the screen right now. Final score here, what happens?
I've got it fairly close for the first quarter, but it ends up 31-17.
31-17 Chiefs, I'm guessing.
Yeah, of course.
How about you, Colby? What's going on, man? Who do you got? You said
I mean, I wish I could say the New England Patriots were going to win this game, but I'm going to have this game a 25-35 with the Chiefs coming out with this W. I will say that, look, the Seahawks were a team that I do have a little bit higher than the Chiefs just as an all-around team that I do think, the offense, the scheme. The Patriots just have much more trouble playing the Seahawks than they do the Chiefs. But with Cam Newton out, they have their right guard Shaq Mason out too. This team I feel like they kind of know that this isn't going to be a W for them at this point. So they're kind of just trying to get healthy, have the bye week coming up. So I have to give this one to the Chiefs.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Chiefs, Patriots, 7:05. I'm excited. We're about an hour away from showtime. I'm excited about this matchup. And yeah, guys, thank you for being here. It means a lot. We're going to move over here to Atlanta and Green Bay. Showdown here. Some people saying in the comments it's a trap game. I think Atlanta, a desperate team, and we got Quinn on the hot seat. We already got O'Brien losing his job. What do you think here? Why don't we start off with Jeff and the Falcons here? You're going to cover the Falcons here for us. What are your thoughts on this game? It's a must-win for you guys. Can you give us your thoughts?
Well, you know what? I honestly think Quinn could be joining O'Brien after this game. That's one of my biggest issues. You're a defensive guru.
Win or lose?
Coach,
hold on. Win or lose joining him?
Lose.
Well, if they win, does he get
the issue is it's whatever wide receiver is left standing. The Packers barely have one wide receiver. They've got Malik Taylor, I think his name is, that they're starting tonight. I can see Rodgers trying to go to Toyin or whatever his name is. But for the Falcons, we got Julio, hamstring, Ridley, ankle. So those guys are on, basically one leg each. Don't know what Gurley's going to do. Don't know how they're going to use him, if they're going to use him out of the backfield. The only guy that I'm counting on, if he's well, is Russell Gage. Watch this guy. He gets a lot of targets. I have a feeling that they're going to use Julio as a decoy. They're going to go ahead and start hitting Russell Gage underneath. And if that happens, who knows? The Packers defense isn't like, the 84 Bears. So sorry about that. I guess I shouldn't have used that reference.
Yeah.
But, you never know. Their defense isn't that great. Falcons always play good for 1, maybe 2.5 quarters, but after that, the wheels fall off. So, if Quinn can go ahead and work something out, I don't know.
Well, listen, we're gonna get Bossorowski on here. I got some questions for you. We're gonna get back to you in a second here, Jeff. But Bossorowski, I got some questions for you here.
Yeah.
My first question is, who the hell is Aaron Rodgers gonna throw to? Your receivers are done. You have no receiver.
Yeah, so as of yesterday on our show in the morning, I thought Devontae was going to play, but he even said it on Twitter. He thinks he's okay to play, but the doctors are holding him out again. And that's the safe thing to do with a bye week coming up next week. Why rush Devontae back against the 32nd ranked defense? I just don't really see it. You still have Aaron Rodgers. He's statistically the best quarterback under PFF this year. He's been playing at a 2010, 2011 level. They have MVS, and the problem with that is he's going to get like the blanket coverage. So MVS is going to be the main guy, but if they put a safety over top him, who else is going to show up? You have Darius Shepard. He was a guy last year that ended up getting cut because he dropped a lot or too many balls. And then that's when Lazard actually took over. Shepard was actually made the roster last year over Lazard. Right. Not many people know. So he's back on the team. He was a practice squad guy. Tyler Ervin's a running back, but he's a type of gadget player where they could use him in the slot, use him on jet sweep, that type of motion. Jeff said Malik Taylor. Yeah, he's there. He hasn't really done anything, but he's still just a good depth guy. And then they also brought up Reggie Bagleton, who is one of my personal fan favorites. He was top 3 in the CFL last year for all receivers, and they signed him in last January or February. And he's been on the practice squad ever since. They just elevated him for tonight. So look to see him get some snaps. Aaron Rodgers is looking to continue his partnership with Bob Tunyon, who's looking pretty good. So it just depends. I think they're going to run a lot of 2 tight end personnel, a lot of running backs, just a lot of stacked formations. I don't see them airing it out crazy much, but they still have Aaron Jones. He led the team in receptions week 2 or in yards week 2. So It just depends.
And
But it's still
Tanyan.
Aaron Rodgers.
Tanyan at tight end.
Yeah, Tanyan's going to start at tight end. Mercedes Lewis is doubtful. He's, he caught a touchdown last week, but Tanyan and Sternberger are the guys. Hopefully DeGuaria can go. He's questionable. DeGuaria is a good H-back type of bootleg type tight end. You can see him getting some action too. I think it's going to be spread around a lot. I think a lot of people, for fantasy sake, are thinking, oh, well, I got to play MVS. I don't think so. I think it's going to be spread around a lot and a lot of runs and a lot of screens and jet sweeps and that type of stuff.
So who do you think is the biggest volume getter at receiver? Is it going to be Tanyan? Probably not. Just more of a red zone guy, right?
Volume? Probably Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Aaron Jones has to.
Probably Aaron Jones. And if not him, it's going to be Tanyan.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. That's and I've heard Kenny Clark's not playing, which I thought he was going to be back this week. But again, you're in that situation where, hey, you have a bye week next week, but it is a trap game, man. You can't take the Arizona or the Atlanta Falcons lightly. Julio Jones is still Julio Jones, one of the best receivers in the game. Calvin Ridley's having a great year. That you said they both have some injuries. But you still can't take him lightly. Matt Ryan's a great quarterback. He always shows up. It just depends on what that defense does in the fourth quarter and what the offense does as well. But yeah, they always show up, but it's in Lambeau. It's still Aaron Rodgers. I've been a big person on saying never bet against Aaron Rodgers, regardless of who they have out there.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say the Falcons win this game outright.
Really?
I think so.
Outright.
You're desperate. The coach is desperate. They've got a better offense right now the way it sits. There's no Adams. There's no Lazard. Gurley's got to step up. I mean, they're due for a big game. They're putting the numbers up. It's not like they're not putting up the points. It's a defense is like Swiss cheese. Now, if that's their biggest weakness, is the defense, but you're looking at an offense who isn't all there. I mean, MVS is in no way a wide receiver one by any means. So I don't know. You're limited here, and they may maybe stack boxes. Even I know he can catch the ball in the backfield, Aaron Jones, but I don't know. I don't think they can handle it. Jeff, what do you think here, man? Do you think there's going to be an upset here?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If the Falcons can go ahead and have their defense hold on in that third and fourth quarter, if they're able to stop Aaron Jones. That's the question, because when you're looking at who they got on the D-line, Tack McKinley's out. There's a number, Grady Jarrett. There's a number of guys out. Dante Fowler Jr., they're all hurt. So if they're not out, they're hurt, which means they're not going to be playing at 100%. So that's been the issue. If Aaron Jones runs wild like he normally does, I'm just going to keep a look on how Green Bay's offensive line is if they're manhandling the Atlanta Falcons defensive line, then it's going to be the usual finish, because that defensive line wears down in the third and fourth quarters. The safeties are horrible right now for the Falcons.
Neal and Allen are out. They're both out.
Exactly. The only thing that the Falcons can hold their hat on is if they can outlast offensively and get one or two good stops on Green Bay when it's crucial. Then they got a chance to win. If I was going to bet against Aaron Rodgers, it would be this game.
Yeah, it could be upset special. So final score here, Jeff. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I say 42-34. Atlanta Falcons.
Wow, I like it. Yeah, I see Caleb in the comments saying Green Bay 45, Falcons 22. I agree with Jeff. I think the Falcons upset here. What about you, Bossorowski? Really curious to hear an honest score.
He said if the offensive line holds up against the Falcons, the Packers have the best offensive line in the league right now, and that's no argument. You can look up all the win percentages. You can look it all up. They lost Brian Bulaga. Doesn't matter. Rick Wagner and Billy Turner have been playing great there. Lucas Patrick's been playing great at right guard. You guys are right in saying it could be an upset game. It's a trap game. I get that, because the Packers are really banged up, and that does make sense. Yesterday I wrote down a score that I had, but that was with Devontae and Kenny Clark playing, and I still have the Packers winning, but only by 10 this time, so 31-21.
31-21 Packers.
Yes.
Wow.
They average 40.5 a game, and they kept that average up last week without Devontae Adams against New Orleans Saints, which is a lot better football team than the Falcons.
Hold on. When's this game starting? I heard it got pushed
9
back.
9:00. It got pushed again. So it was like, it got pushed to 8:50, then not, or Eastern Standard Time, 8:50, then 9. So I'm Eastern Standard Time. I don't care. I'm going to stay up. I'll stay up till 5 a.m. to watch the Packers. That's just how I am. I don't care.
I really like, just to wrap this up here, I really like the fact that, I can watch 2 games and, I'm not like 1 o'clock on Sunday. I'm crazy. Like I can't focus. Like I'm watching Red Zone. It's like frantic. We can hone in and enjoy these games. And I think both of these games are going to be enjoyable. I don't care that the Falcons are 0-3 right now. I think they still have a great offense. They just got to get their crap together, and this is the week they're going to do it. They have to win. So
the key is just like if they own the time of possession, they can win. So like I said yesterday, the Packers are the least ran on team, meaning the opposing team has ran the least on the Packers. Although the success of running is great against the Packers, but when the Packers go up by 1 or 2 scores, 2+ scores, you don't run anymore. You turn into a one-dimensional offense. You start throwing a lot because you're trying to get back into that game. So if they can keep it tight and keep running with Todd Gurley, which has proven to be a great running back in this league, that's how they're going to win. They need to have the time of possession and they need to run, because I'm not saying they can't throw, because Julio and Ridley and Matt Ryan are great, but the way to beat the Packers tonight without Kenny Clark would be to run the ball and own the time of possession.
I agree. All right, guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you, Jeff and Basarowski. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. So that wraps it up, guys. Monday Night Football. I'm excited. 2 great matchups. Go out there, enjoy it. Make sure you guys follow FTFN Network for all the latest news and notes from the top ambassadors from every team. Thanks for being here. Monday Night Football Showdown. We'll see you next Monday.